Cashcade is a Notion template I built for personal finance. As you can see from the video's length, it takes a while to set it up, but once it's ready, managing the monthly revenues and expenses becomes a simple, automated, gamified experience. You can set up recurring transactions and have them generated all at once at the beginning of the month, and you can quickly add additional transactions via the ready-to-use templates. The cash flow stream goes from the top to the bottom of the page, that's why I call the template Cashcade, and naturally flows in the right spot at every step. You can start generating transactions on the top, then you move on managing them, and once you have done with them and a new month comes in, you will have an overview of your progress and a detailed view on your most important streams. You will see how much you can achieve with different versions of the same linked database and with different filtering options. You could also learn a thing or two while building this together. You can follow along and build this template from scratch, or you can get it on Gumroad, link in the description, where you can find many other Notion templates that will be useful to you. But without further ado, let's start building this Notion template and simplify our finances management. Okay, so let's start with a blank page. The building blocks of our system are 3 different databases. We will create right now. We will have the actual Cashcade database, the months database, and the years database. Let's create them. Let's do the months and years first. They are easier to prepare. Let's create a template for the months. Change the tags into relation to the sample years. Rename it year. And create a new entry for every month of 2020. Let's jump out to the years database, create a new template. I like to use this emoji here. Let's call it new here. Clear the tags, we don't need them for now. Create a new here, 2020. Select all the months, right click, edit property here, and select 2020. Let's disable wrap cells for the years and for the months too. And we can start working on our Cashcade database. Actually, we can make them all different separated pages, so you can manage them and move them wherever you want. So let's turn them into pages, and we will link the databases in this page later. Let's move inside the Cashcade and let's create the different properties we need. So the name will be the transaction for us. we can transform the tag into the completed property and move it here. We have amount, that will be our euros or dollars, so let's change the format into euros in my case. Let's add a date property. Let's relate the month database. And do the same with the year. And the most important property for us will be the category in this case. So let's create category and make it a select property. And here we will list all the different kind of revenues or expenses we will have. You can go deeper or more broad depending on your needs. So in my case, I will have the base income, the passive income, I will have recurring expenses, I will have subscriptions, I will have bills, I will have taxes. And what it really helps for me, it's to make green the revenue streams we have and red the expenses. It really helps to quickly identify one or the other. Now that we have all the properties needed, let's create two templates for this database. One will be a new revenue. Let's add a custom icon for that. All the custom icons I will use in this template will be available in the description below. So we will have a up green arrow for the revenue, and a down red arrow for the expense. This, combined with the colors we use for the categories, really helps again identifying at a glance the expenses and the cash flow. We now have all the elements needed in order to start linking and creating our page. So let's go back to the main page and let's create some sections with titles that will help us identify the different stages and different steps for the cash flow. So let's create a H2 and call it generate. Duplicate it, and the second one, call it manage. We have a third one that we will call in, a fourth one we will call it out, and then we will have an overview area, and we will also have detailed views. We can grab the out title, bring it here on the right of the in title, And let's make the page full width. Let's change the color for the generate title to yellow. The manage, I like to use the gray. For the in, I like to use the green, and for the out, I of course use the red one. And the overview and details can be, for example, blue. Let's create a toggle below the generate title and call it generate new transactions. So this first area will be where we generate new transactions every month or every week. We will create and manage new transactions, then we'll move below in the manage area, and then depending on the kind of transaction in the in or out stream. Let's make the background of this toggle yellow. Let's open it and let's create another toggle inside it. We can keep it empty, just change the color of the text, this time in yellow. And inside it, we'll finally link our database, the sample Cashcade, and let's make this view a gallery. And let's start generating some revenues and expenses transactions. So let's add, for example, the paycheck. If you have a fixed amount of money for the transaction, it's helpful to write it now, because what we are going to create right now are the recurring expenses over the weeks and the months. So let's say 3,000. It's a base income. I don't want to specify a date or a month, but I can already say that it's for 2020. It's not a template. We are not creating templates in this case, but you will see in a few minutes how we will automatically generate these transactions for every new month. Let's create another revenue. For example, Gumroad. Maybe you sell some digital product online, and this will go to the passive income, and also this one to the 2020. I will not add a fixed amount in this case because every month it will be different, of course, so I will leave it empty, and then I will have already the Gumroad transaction ready for me to be edited every month. Let's create some expense. So the easy one is the rent, and every month will be 500 euros. Category is a recurring expense. 2020. We could probably have some kind of bank loan. And a fixed amount every month. Another recurring expense. Let's add a train pass, for example. Let's add some subscription. And then we can specify different bills. And these are all the transactions that I'm sure will recur every month. So let's style a bit the view. No card preview. And let's activate all the properties. Let's arrange them. So I tend to use this kind of setup. Category first, amount, date, month, year, and completed last. And now that we have some basic transactions laid out, let's create a button down here so we can start automating this stuff. And what it will do is to generate recurring transactions. We can delete the to do here, select all these transactions and bring them down here. And the problem is that if we use the button as it is right now, the annoying thing is that every time it will open one of the pages, and it's quite annoying. So a way to avoid it is to go back here, delete these newly created transactions, go back to the button settings and add another entry. Simple text is enough, and let's call it, for example, delete me. And bring it at the top. In this case, every time we generate new transactions for the new month, we will have the list here, but we will not jump into one of the pages. So we can just grab them and bring them over here. And as you can see, if we use a gallery view over there, it's not possible to directly drag them in there in the database. So what I usually do, also to avoid this issue, is to create an empty entry here in the database. And we can use emojis. I usually put just red dot and some arrows. We can hide, for example, the completed property here. We don't need it in this stage. And right now, if we keep all the time this empty entry here in this linked database of the Cashcade database, we can just drag our entries, and all the recurring transactions are here ready to be used for the new month. Let's add a couple of filters to this linked database and then move on to the manage phase to start automating stuff. So let's go to filter, and we will filter for completion is not completed. We want to see only transactions that are not completed. And a neat trick here is to filter also by month, for example, and is empty. So we will see transactions that have not the month property correctly assigned, and we can move on to the manage phase, and we can create another toggle here and call it pending, for example. Let's open it. Let's make the background gray. We don't need another toggle inside it. In this case, we can duplicate the linked database here We can jump to the gallery view. Let's move the gallery view on top, also in the other one. We can also delete the table view, but let's keep it there for now. And here we will see all the pending transactions for this month. And this is simply done by changing the sorting and the filters. Let's change the month filter to category and is not empty. So in this way, we just avoid to see again this empty block we needed here in order to move our transactions in the database over here. And for sorting, we can sort by category. Ascending is fine, and by date, and ascending is fine. So we will have the revenues first, and then all the different expenses, and once we will start adding dates for the different transactions, they will be ordered by date too. Once we set up everything, the things to do are pretty easy at the beginning of the month. I can, for example, delete everything here. I can generate recurring transactions. I can grab them, bring them here, right click month, and November. They disappear here and they're down here, and just clear up this delete me text. And this is super fast, as you can see. Let's move on creating the two different streams for revenues and expenses down below. Let's create a toggle and call it revenue. Open it. Change the background color to green. Let's add another toggle. And I like to add just a green dot and open it. And in this case, change the text color to green. And let's copy this linked database into here. Sorting is fine. We just need to change our filters in this case. So let's remove these and start over. Let's create a filter group and select category is base income, another, or it's fine, is passive income. Let's create another group and is completed, and the month is November in our case. This is the filter setup. So let's move to the out stream and then test the system and see actually what it does. And simply change the filtering, adding all the expenses categories, so recurring, subscription, bills or taxes. So the base system is complete finally. Let's test it out from the beginning. Let's say it's a brand new month. Let's create our recurring transactions. Let's grab them here for a second. Let's change the month to the new one. Let's always say November, for example. Everything is now here. And something I need to definitely see here is the completed. I also like to see this in these other views. So let's enable it everywhere except for here. And let's say that I paid the rent and the rent goes down here. I received a payment from Gumroad. I received my paycheck for this month. Spotify payment goes automatically at the beginning of the month, and I just received the water bill for this month or for the past month. And as you can see, everything is flowing down pretty nicely once the system is set up. Something I just want to change a bit is the layout. So let's make the small tiles here, the small cards here for these views. Let's use these small cards for every copy of this database so it's consistent everywhere. We can also move this database down after the button, so the cash flow is really from top to bottom. So in the manage area, then I can quickly, for example, I received the bill for electricity. I want to remind myself that I need to pay it tomorrow. And also I would like to have a reminder about it, so I can easily see everything here. And then, for example, I received another payment from Gumroad, so I can easily create a new revenue, call it Gumroad, and add the amount. I received 30 euros. It's a passive income. It's always on November and it's always 2020, and it's completed, so it can directly go down here. Then I pay the electricity, I pay the gas, or for example I paid the bank loan and the train pass. I just need to still pay the gas for this month. And then December comes, so it's easy now for me to generate new transactions for the new month. Let's generate them again, bring them down so you can see how easy it is. And these are for December. So they disappear here. We have them down here. Let's add another sorting attribute for the month and make it descending in this case. In this way, we will see first the pending transactions for the earlier month, and then we have new stuff afterwards. And once we generate stuff for the new month, we can just go to the filters here and change the month for both of them. So that maybe I finally paid the gas for November, it's completed. I know that it's going to the appropriate area, even if I don't see it here. And then finally I received the paycheck for December. I paid the train pass, I paid the rent, Spotify, and so on. And what's remaining now is to set up different views in order to quickly see what's going on month after month and have an overview or a detailed view of the different transactions. So we can come here in the overview area. We can have a H3 title called monthly overview. Let's give it a gray background so we can see it easy. Down here, let's link our sample months. So that's why we had to put the descending month. So it's correct to have the ascending one, but we just need to sort the months by create date. So let's add the property. And sort it by it. So that's why we had issues with filtering here in the pending phase. So keep in mind that the month database needs to be sorted by create time ascending. So if we wrote in order the different months of the year, we will then have them in the correct order. We don't need this property for anything else, but we can hide it. And let's rearrange here. And what we can do is to filter this view, and we can keep the table view in this case. Let's filter it for the Cashcade database. So let's rename this, let's cash flow. So where cash flow is not empty. Doing so, we will see only the months that contain transactions, and we can actually sort them descending in this case. So I like to have the latest month here at the top. What's really interesting is that we can also add another property and call it monthly income, and it's a roll-up connected to the cash flow, and we want the amount and the sum of it. And this, if we bring it here, it's the monthly income at a glance. Really nice. We can check here the different transactions for the month, and we can do the same for the years. And I don't know why, but if we put year and month data in these recurring entries, even if they display month and years correctly, they will not be counted here. This is easily fixed. Let's delete the year from the entries and substitute these entries here, delete them. So now when we generate new recurring transactions, they will not have the year property, and we will be forced to select the year every time. It's a step more to do, but this ensures that everything goes well. So this is fixed. Let's have yearly income roll up and select the Cashcade, the amount again and the sum, and let's bring it over here. Now that we have our overviews for the month and the years, we can also set up detailed views. Let's duplicate this title and call it, for example, Gumroad income. Let's link the sample Cashcade database. Let's filter the view by the transaction name. In this case, contains is fine, and let's write Gumroad. So we will see only the Gumroad transactions, and we don't need in this case to see the category. We want to see, and it's really nice to see if all the transactions for this detail view are completed or not. The amount, of course, it's important. The date in this case is really nice to have, because we can see chronologically the different amount of money that we receive. And duplicating both the title and the linked database, we can also, for example, keep track of the electricity bills month after month, changing just the filter to electricity. So everything is set up now. I cleared all the different entries. So I want to show you what's happening and what you have to do at the beginning of a new month. You just have to generate the recurring transactions that will pop up here. Let's move them to this generate view. Clear up the delete me text. Let's bring them to the database below. Let's keep them selected. It's handy to have them already selected. Right click and assign the year 2020, and assign also the month. So let's say December. They immediately disappear from this database the moment we apply the month. They pop up down here in the pending section, and once a transaction is completed, we can check it. It will move below. So we will see all the completed transactions for the current month. And for December, we will have some of the monthly income, an yearly overview for 2020, a detailed view for Gumroad and electricity. And for example, if on Gumroad I add the amount and the exact date I got the payment, of course everything will neatly show up here. Something I forgot is to put the amount in minus for all the expenses. Once you're ready for a new month and want to generate a new stream for it, just go here under filters for the in and out streams and change the month here. After that, you can just generate the recurring transactions, apply the year, the month. They will pop up here in the manage and so on. We finally completed the template. Thank you for sticking until the end. Remember to check my Gumroad page for many other Notion templates you can find useful, and see you to the next one.